I believe you can come a little bit closer. Nice to meet you. What's your name?
My name is Vern, and I'm with Canada's Medical Clinic.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad to have the opportunity to share some of this information with you.
Thank you so
Hey
much.
guys, come on over a little bit closer. So first of all, Canada's Medical Clinic is the first family medicine clinic to franchise across Canada. Now, years ago, when I was young, because I'm old, it was a long time ago, I was 14 and my parents were in Zambia, Africa, and they ran a surgery hospital. I was 14, I got to watch my first cesarean. When you watch your first cesarean, you either go ooh or wow. I was the wow guy. I wanted to see more. I got to see more. I wanted to be a doctor. I came to Canada. I majored in organic chemistry, and then I started to go into medicine. I got in, and I ended up in a shopping center selling slicer dicers with a microphone. And I fell in love, and I became a marketing entrepreneur, and that's my life story, sales and marketing. I became a surgeon of the tomato instead of the person, okay? But anyways, that's my story. Then I discovered, as I went on in life, now fast forward, I'm a realtor in Vancouver, and I'm doing okay, and I'm ready to retire. And then I realized that we have a crisis in Canada with doctors. I started doing some headhunting and recruiting on the side, where I would move CEOs and CFOs from company to company. I loved it. Nursing homes started to call and say, hey, we need nurses. There was a nurse shortage. I couldn't believe it. I discovered there was also a doctor shortage. So now I'm really paying attention and I'm thinking about it. Why is this happening? I had a doctor in White Rock, just outside of Vancouver, and I was an entrepreneur. I didn't realize the crisis existed. Then when I realized that 1 out of 4 Canadians, that's almost 10 million Canadians, soon will not have a doctor, I was not impressed, and I felt this is not good. Why is this happening? So then I realized somebody dropped the ball. We know how to make doctors, we don't have enough. What's going on? So then I studied the problem and I realized that the reason we have the crisis, despite the desire to imagine it being complex and out of reality, some weird reason why we can't get doctors, the reason we don't have doctors is because of margins. There's no margins. When a business fails, there's no margins. If a business does well, the North Star guiding them is profit and margin. It doesn't mean it's all about money, but to succeed in business, you got to pay the bills and you need to have profit to attract people to want to be in the business. So years ago, my mom and dad, years ago, because I'm old, they were kids, they all had doctors. There was no shortage, no crisis. They had doctors. Years ago, doctors were paid a split of the income of their billing. They would get 60%, the clinic would get 40, it cost 25 to run the clinic. You had, that's right, 15% profit. Good to see you're paying attention. Now, a guy came along, so I'm old, I'm 61. You never thought we'd live this long, did you? So we're taking over a larger portion of the population. The population is aging. We need more medical attention than ever before per capita. So what happens is the doctors become the commodity, right? When the doctors are a commodity, supply and demand kicks in. Make sense? Thanks for nodding. I appreciate it. Okay? Supply and demand kicks in. Now, what happens in the stock market when supply and demand kicks in? The price goes up. So you're a doctor. Now I open a clinic and I say, hey, what's your first name? Shruti. Shruti. So I say, Shruti, come and work for me. I'll give you 70% instead of 60. She goes, fantastic. But now the profit, 15 down to 5. Not as many people want to own a clinic. Clinics are not as popular. Now, what's your name?
Pratap.
Pratap says, hey, Shruti, come and work for me. I'll give you 80% of your billings. She goes there. Now what just happened? Now I'm hemorrhaging 5%, but I don't care because I'm not an entrepreneur, I'm a doctor. I'm just gonna hire, I'll give you 80, come and work for me. Now the beginning of the problem you're seeing to happen. In Ontario today, there are some clinics that will offer you 90% of your billings. Now for the doctor who doesn't know better, it sounds great.
Yeah.
But for the clinic owner, it's a gong show, right? It's a disaster. Turn the news on almost every night. This clinic's closing, that clinic's closing, emergency's overloaded because there's no margin. That's it.
Sorry, what's the question? I mean, I've read it for up until now that every doctor, the intention is to open up their own clinic eventually to get 100% of the billings.
Well, what happens is if you open up your own clinic, most doctors are not entrepreneurs. So they try to run the clinic and see patients at the same time, right? And to have a clinic operate properly with the right ratio of MOAs, medical office assistants, you need to have 6 to 8 doctors to be optimum. So what I did when I saw the problem is I said, number one, example, Tim Hortons, 3,800 locations in Canada. Why? Because margins are their North Star and they focus. McDonald's, 1,500 locations, margins. Any successful business, there are many here, margins. What's the largest clinic network in Canada under one brand? Less than 150. Why? No margins, okay? So first of all, I want to fix the problem. How do I do it? I want to open hundreds of clinics across Canada to do this. That's what we need to do. We need to be almost like Tim Hortons and we'll kick the butt of the problem, okay? So what do we need? Number one, let's go back to grade 1 class and have a little school with the kids. You want to open a lemonade stand? You need to buy the lemons, you need to buy the cups, you need to buy ice. The total cost of the lemonade is 44 cents. You sell it for 40 cents? No, you sell it for $1, so you have margins.
Yeah.
So to open clinics, we need margins. So number one, to make the story shorter, I know you need 35% margins to do this. 35% margins to do this, to be able to buy the best equipment, hire the best staff, and buy the buildings. Then share the building equity with the doctors and the franchisees. Another story, we'll get to that. 35% allows us to rock and roll. Now, a smart guy's going, hey, newsflash, you got 65 left. You're gonna stand in front of your clinic on the sidewalk with a picket sign, I got 65. They're gonna drive by you to get 80, over you to get 90. Even though when they get there, they're not gonna get the service or the equipment, they don't know that yet. But here's what we do. Don't worry, because we're gonna take 65, we have to, we have no choice, and make the doctors richer than if they get 80 or 90. Here's how we did it. We pay all doctors a 60% base, calculated monthly, transferred into their bank. Now we got 5% left. We could give it to the doctor, or we could do something unique that's never been done before. Nobody has ever incentivized the doctors to bring the doctors. Who knows all the doctors?
Doctors.
The doctors, okay? So watch this. I have patients lined up waiting. I have the money from the government waiting to be shoveled into my bank. All I need is doctors. So we pay 60 to all the doctors. So you come and work for me and I give you 60. He says, hey, Vern, I want you to meet my friend Bob. He's a doctor. He just brought me the most important thing of all things that I need in my new business. So I need to partner with him, profit share with him, and give him the 5% override on the guy he brought. Do you understand? So my cost is 65% ceiling. My profits 35, make me the most profitable clinic network in the country. Now, when he brings 4 doctors to join me, he's now making the equivalent of 80%. When he brings 8 doctors to join me, he's making the equivalent of 100%. My national medical director last month in Edmonton took home 118% of what he billed. No clinic can compete. My 35% is unscathed, untouched, and it's exploding. So this started 18 months ago. It started to explode. I knew I needed to open locations as fast as possible. How do I do that? How do I hire a manager that turns the lights off at night, that cares like an owner? I don't. I make them owners. That's why I decided to franchise. I started franchising in the spring. Here we are today. We opened the clinic in Edmonton, the training clinic, a year ago. We got it all figured out, how to do it, created the manuals. Now we started selling franchises, and we have Barrie, Guelph, Milton, 2 in Calgary, 1 in Fredericton, New Brunswick. Now it's exploding. So now we're off to the races. You're in right at the beginning. When you buy a Boston Pizza, it's $2.5 million. Worth it, great restaurant, I love the pizza. Here, it's $1.5 million-ish to buy our clinic. That includes the leasehold improvements to build it, the franchise fee, the medical equipment, the computers, everything. We supply the doctors, we supply the pharmacists, we book the patient. We do everything so you can run it all from your laptop. Now, some people want to, hey, I want to be the janitor, save money. No, let the system do the work. The most successful franchisees own multiple units. To do that, you need to step away and let the system do the work.
And if you could kind of go back, I think you mentioned earlier that when you're trying to get these premises, you'd rather buy than rent the premises.
Oh, so your question is about the real estate. Okay.
Is that 1.5 that you
No, it's not. So when you are a tenant, so we buy the buildings and we rent them to the franchisee. If a franchisee though says, hey, you're doing that McDonald's thing, I want to get in on that too. Unlike any other companies here, we let you in. As a franchisee, you can partner in the building with us, no problem. We're not going to pay Joe Blow's mortgage. We're going to pay our mortgage.
So, question is, if I have 1.5 million,
Yeah.
how much money I can make yearly?
Well, as a franchisee and a franchisor, to answer that question is dangerous. Perhaps I should say it needs to be done properly. Because one thing we cannot do is we cannot set expectations in anybody's mind. So here's how I do it. If you buy a franchise and it costs you 500,000, 1.5 million, 2.5 million, and you buy one of many here today at the Amazing Franchise Show, you want to be able to get your money back in 3 to 5 years. So that answers your question if you do a little math. Okay? The royalty is 5% and it's very, very lucrative. And it is the most purposeful mission of all because the only reason we're on the planet is to help others. And this is where purpose meets profit. You can't, if I had $10 billion and I started hiring doctors to help people, eventually my money would run out, I would die, and you would forget about me, okay? But that's not a good way to fix it. The way to fix it is to create a system that's self-sustaining, that keeps going.
Doctors, like, even though they had think that, oh, if I bring somebody and then still I am.
So most doctors that work for clinics are engaged in a contract with clinics, and clinics have a terrible time keeping doctors, retaining them. So the doctors' contracts are what I like to refer to as a bear claw contract, where they lose a doctor, they say to their lawyer, make it better, make it stronger, to try to keep them. My contracts, I call them teddy bear contracts, because I have no term. I want you to stay because of love, not handcuffs. But once you have a few doctors, and I give you a few doctors, because when you start, I give you doctors, you end up with a huge second income, which makes you not want to ever leave. We've never lost a doctor yet. It's a joke because we're so new, but we probably won't, I don't think. I mean, things happen, but when you're a partner without having to invest, that's what we have to offer the doctor.
How does, and it's a great business model, how does it attract, I mean, because to me it makes sense for doctors to invest into that product, to be your franchisor.
Doctors are not my target to be the franchisee. Doctors are not the best entrepreneurs. Now, it's not their fault. There's no MBA combined with the School of Medicine. I learned how to be an entrepreneur one way, by failing. That's how I learned. Any money lost in a poor business venture is tuition towards my education as an entrepreneur. I thank you for your question, and I thank you for the chance to let me do this little show. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Really
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
it. Oh no, for sure.